direct this to you. I affirm everything that you just said. I'm just a little suspicious of it. And only suspicious to the degree that I think I understand something about human nature and about how people organize and how you organize human nature. And I think, and here's the question. I'm not sure if everybody is supposed to be a leader. And a leaderless movement assumes that just because you got a Twitter account, right, and an opinion, informed though it may be, that you should be a leader.
Correct. So let's absolutely. But we've been lied to. We've been hoodwinked, bamboozled.
Led astray.
Led astray. Run amok. Our politicians are not our leaders. Whoever told us this lie should be smacked across their face. Let's get something straight. The politicians are put there to follow the desire of the people. The people are the leaders. We got away from that. We started talking about the Dr. Kings, and we started to follow this after, and even as we go back to Frederick Douglass, God bless him, we couldn't have done it without him, right? But it took the people to get out on those fields and fight that battle.
Yeah, but Maxwell, let me just add this to it, and you can continue. These two concepts I don't think are mutually exclusive. You can have an understanding that you need people and that the masses are significant to the success of any movement, but also understand that there are, every now and then, the emergence of extraordinary people with extraordinary gifts.
Absolutely.
Who are uniquely suited to do certain things.
Absolutely.
Those two things can exist at the same time.
Absolutely.
My problem with Eru's generation is that they have dissolved some of that, understanding. And now, if you just have, if you have a Twitter account, an opinion, and a following.
Yeah, but let me interrupt. Just let me say,
now you're
this real quick. If we go back and we look at Rome, that is democracy. Democracy is where we all meet on the hill and we all get a voice, informed or not. But we get that voice and we all interject that voice, and then our leader says, this is the voice. This is what the people want, whether good or bad, right or wrong, rain or shine. This is what I am to go represent. And that is what his generation is doing.
So, Ibu, you want to jump in, then I will get Jack on it.
I just want to give you a term.
I think what's happening is,
pardon me. Let her go.
No, absolutely.
What your generation has rejected is the fact that we have become consumed in organizations with the survival of the organization.
That's rich.
And we lose the mission.
That's rich.
And I think the movement gets lost.
That's rich.
And that's what we don't want to see your generation do.
That's rich.
Don't clap at that, because that's our fault. No, that's our fault.
No, you're right, but let her finish.
But it's an intergenerational conversation.
Yes, it is.
What my generation wants is for you to take the time to deal with me about that and to call me back to my baseline where I started, because we all started with the movement and then got diverted into this other stuff with organizations and power and authority and role. And that's what, and the product becomes the organization, not the movement.
Yeah, but we have to remember that you run that first leg. If we look at the Olympics, you take off and you run that first leg. You pass that baton to me. He's waiting for me to get to him and pass that baton. You can't. If it goes from you to him, you have to throw it. It never gets there. The problem isn't you guys. The problem is us.
Well, we're preparing for me to live longer, and I'm saying I'm going to be useful in that length.
Love that. In passing. In passing. And love that you're living longer.
I like that. I like that a lot. But I think she's absolutely right. The failure was not that we had leaders, right? But that we made power, position, and organization. And maybe you're absolutely right. Maybe that's really what your generation is rejecting. The notion that the aim of the movement is to build an organization.
An institution.
Yeah.
An institution.
Right.
So I mean, say more.
I want to give it a term. It's decentralized power. For a lot of us, we think about the way that not just politicians, but even leaders of a movement cling to power. And when someone is drunk with power, the movement can inherently be destroyed.
That's right.
It always
And we
suffers.
have many leaders that have
It
done
always
it.
suffers,
Yes.
right?
So with our generation, we realize that in this time and in this space, there's an opportunity to refine the model of leadership. It's not a top-down approach. It starts at the base level. It starts at the base level. And it's what goes down here is what you need to be listening to up there. And I think for a lot of us, when we think about leadership also, it's not discounting what those people that aren't at the table every day have to say, right? Because the contributions that we receive that oftentimes go the furthest are those that come from folks that have perspectives that may not be at our tables.
But if I may.
You may.
Sister Jacqueline said something earlier, and when she said it, I noticed it. I filed it in my bank account, and I'm gonna pull it out.
Let's cash it.
Because she she said that part of what her generation happened to be committed to was direct action without attention.
I'm gonna tweet about it. It's going on my
See,
IG
I'm
story.
gonna
My
tweet
point
about it.
exactly.
I knew exactly what you were
I'm gonna hashtag
My point
that.
exactly.
So if I don't see it, it didn't happen. That's what it is, right? If I didn't see it, it didn't happen, right? And a lot of people get lost in that, and it's problematic. But when we think about power dynamics in the way that influence in particular has shifted over time, social media has been a huge catalyst. And for us, you need to be able to display how the movement is built
What does that mean?
for people to join the
To
movement.
join in, to follow.
And follow the movement. And that is exactly the language that social media uses. Follow. Follow.
So if I hear you correctly, Maxwell, I'm gonna get you in, but if I hear you correctly, you're saying that there's an understanding that if I can't post about it or tweet about it, that it's not an actual movement that's happening. It has to be
Tangible.
visual, tangible, in order for people to be involved in it. As opposed to, and this is where I started this conversation, as opposed to being principled.
Not saying as opposed to, right? But the movement is to be televised, okay? The sausage
The movement
making
needs to
process
be televised.
is to be.
And my generation says the movement will not be televised.
Exactly. there is a transition in that language for a reason, right? My generation wants to be a part of the sausage making process. We want to see it.
So when the TV camera goes away, what do you do?
You know, some
I was just
folks-
about to ask that.
not just me. I'm talking. I'm
No,
speaking
no,
for a
not you, the
generation here,
proverbial
right?
you, not you.
So we can be clear here, right? There are a lot of phony and fakes out there, right? When the camera goes off, you go back to chilling in your room, right? We call it the social media activist, right? That person that can't figure out how to not post that article, right? And go out there and actually knock on some doors. Okay? Those people exist.
Maxwell, let me ask you a question. Is social media activism real activism?
Yes.
How so?
Because all activism is real activism. If you're willing to get involved and put your mouth out there, you work at Subway sandwiches and you're willing to put your job on the line for something you say on Twitter, then you're being an activist. But I think what we're skipping, and with all due deference to that question, I think what we're skipping and what I'm appalled at constantly is the passing over of our generation. And we love to ask the
Your
question.
generation.
Yes, of my generation, of our generation. I said our generation,
X,
you and
yeah.
I.
That's what I mean, X.
Of the X generation. And I'd liken it back to the race in the Olympics. You cannot win. You cannot win a race without passing the baton, and that baton must be passed correctly. And they did an amazing. First of all, sister, I commend you guys for everything that you did. For the blood, the sweat, the tears that you guys put in for us to have this access to be able to go to the top colleges, to be able to, how many go on Instagram and you see your girlfriends, and we all over the world on Instagram, aren't we? Black people, I've never seen so many black people in Dubai in my life. Right? We're all over it. Just 10 years ago, 66% of African Americans didn't own a passport. But now we see the world completely differently, right? Before her generation, there was no leaving the plantation. We were terrified. Plantation meaning your block.
I mean, we got that, but
right?
so what?
So now we are here. Now we're here. So what do we do with that? We can't take it from there to there. You don't go from a 72-year-old to a 27. You pass the baton to the next generation, and then that generation imparts the success. That's what Thomas Jefferson talked about. That information that they want to give doesn't go to millennials. They've taken off on their journey. That information goes to Generation X. The problem is that we have not been available for that information. That is not their fault, but we are available now. We see that. We've made all the money. We didn't get us anywhere. It got us Donald Trump as a president. We pop bottles in the club. We put platinum records all up and down the wall. We see our biggest entertainers, our biggest people all doing amazing things, making billions of dollars, and we still have Donald Trump as a president. It means that we have been inactive. It is time for us to become proactive.
And what we're saying is, we're ready for the second chance.
Yes.
If you're ready to listen.
We are ready.
Yeah. And push back.
Yes.
But we pushed back against our generation.
Yes.
I mean, it was not easy, quote unquote, when we were doing our activism with our parents.
Yes.
I remember my dad looking at my natural and say, "You look like a frisbee chicken."
It's terrifying.
This is a civil rights leader.
Yeah, it was terrifying.
But his thing of protecting me was I needed to straighten my hair.
Yes.
And so I think when we come back, let us come again.
Yes.
Listen again.
Yes.
And be ready to push back again.
And we are. That's what you're doing here on the show. That is why you had me here on the show. The show originally was these two. I was brought in because you had a vision. There needed to be representation here because we have not been involved, and that is what we are here to do now. You go from a 72-year-old to a 47-year-old to a 27-year-old. That's the process in which we can continue to create.
Well, you know, I'll, first of all, marvelous point. That's clappy, but I will see you a point and raise you a point.
Raise me a point.
That not only is it marvelous, but each of you are modeling what black people need to do in terms of having generational conversations that don't descend into acrimony.
That's correct.
And disagreement just for the sake of feeling good about yourself. This conversation models for me, I think, an important cycle that we have to have. We are not going to all agree on leaderless movements or whether or not there should be leaders. I'm just not sold on it myself personally. But it doesn't matter if I'm sold on it. It doesn't matter if you're sold on it. What we agree on and where the conversation really takes its power is we agree on what the goals are.
That's correct.
Having principled conversations, methodologies, tactics are debatable, right? But I think where we've missed it is we stop talking about the things from which our movement should prescind. We have goals without principles. We have activists who don't take risks.
Yes.
We have a generation that has success but doesn't understand that success without a moral compass turns you into the people you said you were running from.
That's right.
Right?
We have a history that's been covered over.
You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate all of you. Now I got 5 minutes. Let me do something with you real quick. All right? I need short answers. Short answers. I'm going to give each of you a name, and I want you to give me a one-word answer. All right? A one-word response to whoever I mentioned. All right? You ready? Evil, you all right?
I'm with you.
You looking?
I'm like, what name he's about to
Jesse Jackson.
Trailblazer.
Al Sharpton.
Trailblazer.
Louis Farrakhan.
Ooh.
That's not a word, by the way.
I would say unconventional.
Ella Baker.
Ooh.
Own person.
Ta-Nehisi Coates.
I got 3 words.
One.
Powerful.
Michelle Alexander.
Inspirational.
Karen Bass.
Together.
That's a good word. Maxine Waters.
One word. Auntie.
Colin Kaepernick.
Audacious.
That's rich. That's rich. One more each of you. You all right?
Let's go.
So you can trust me. I got you.
Let's run around.
LeBron James.
Different.
You should have said the GOAT. You know you should have said the
Could you
GOAT.
start critiquing her?
The Lakers now.
Let me get you a good one. Let me get you a really good one. NAACP.
Forever.
Easy one for you. You're the last one. Black Lives Matter.
Oh, power.
Give them all a hand. No, that's rich. That's rich.